Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission here is always to take your source material, the complex articles, the philosophical texts, the cutting-edge research, and cut right to the insights, giving you that deep understanding without the information overload.
And today we're really wading into something fascinating.
And maybe a little painful, a self-examination, really.
It is. We're looking at a huge stack of existential thought, but applying it to something universal.
Yeah.
Love.
Right, and it's something that feels so deeply ingrained in how we talk about our relationships.
That's the thing. The source material, which pulls a lot from Albert Camus, it forces us to confront the very language we use, the words that just sort of automatically come out when we talk about our intimate lives.
And why that language so often sounds less like vulnerability.
And more like a tactical debriefing, like you just came back from a successful military campaign or something.
Okay, let's unpack that right away, because that idea is just so recognizable. We've all done this, right? You're telling a friend a story about a relationship, especially a difficult one.
Or one that's just ended.
Exactly. And you lead with the obstacles, the difficulty of it all, the sheer amount of emotional energy it took.
You never say, I experienced a sustained quiet presence with someone for 5 years.
No, never. You say, I finally conquered that relationship, or it took me months, but I won them over. It's this immediate framing of the whole thing as a struggle.
A proof of effort, a conquest, not just a shared existence.
And what's so unsettling is how easily that language of achievement just comes out. It feels natural, almost necessary, to frame love as a challenge you overcame.
But this is precisely where a philosopher like Camus, the philosopher of the absurd, would just stop. He'd pause, and he'd be deeply, deeply suspicious of that whole mindset.
Suspicious of anything that makes us feel like we've decisively won against life.
Exactly. In this deep dive, it's really not about judging those stories. We're not here to say it's morally wrong. It's a cold, hard look, a psychological and philosophical analysis of a basic human contradiction.
Which?
The desperate, utterly exhausting attempt to impose order and control on something that is, by its very nature, uncontrollable.
The human heart, another person's freedom.
And your own existence, really, which leads us straight to the central question from the source material. It's the paradox that this whole deep dive is built around, and it's brutal in its simplicity.
Camus asks, if love is a triumph, who is the loser?
It's just a chilling question, isn't it? It completely interrogates all our romantic myths because it implies that for there to be a victory, there has to be a vanquished party.
Someone has to lose.
The second you frame love as a conquest, and the source material uses language that's really intense, like a military feat, the relationship stops being this mutual, neutral meeting place.
It becomes what? A battlefield?
A proving ground, a stage specifically designed to validate your self-worth.
So the goal is completely shifted. You're not loving just to love, just for the connection.
No. The goal becomes, I'm loving to win.
And winning can mean a lot of different things, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. It could be winning over your own loneliness. It could be winning over a person who's, complicated or hard to get.
Or even winning against the person you say you love.
That's the darkest version, yeah. Constantly controlling the dynamic, making sure you always have the emotional upper hand. And that's really our mission today, to understand how this modern mindset shifts the whole point of love from to love to win.
So let's start where the source begins, with that subtle shift in our vocabulary. We said people rarely say, I have loved. It's always more active, more strategic.
It's achievement-oriented. I have secured, or I have conquered.
And this kind of language gets applied pretty broadly, right? It's not just one type of situation.
Not at all. It's consistent. You might be conquering a difficult, emotionally complex partner, or you're achieving success in some high-stakes, long-distance thing.
Or getting with someone who's seen as, socially out of your league.
Exactly. Conquering the emotional fortress of someone who doesn't give in easily, it seems like the more effort it takes, the more valuable we think the relationship is.
Regardless of the actual quality of the connection, it's like, if it was easy, it couldn't possibly be worthy of proving my value. It's like a performance.
It's high-stakes performance art, and the audience has to be impressed by how difficult the whole thing was.
Yeah, and Camus saw this so clearly. This modern need to turn every single experience, even the most intimate ones, into evidence of our personal value.
The source calls it the trophy mentality. The act of love becomes secondary to the story you can tell about it later. the narrative of victory.
So when people tell these stories, they're not sharing a journey.
No, they're delivering a soldier's report from the front lines. They're showing off their emotional medals of honor.
Okay, so how are those medals measured? What's the metric on this strange emotional scorecard?
It's mostly about counting and comparing. People count how many significant partners have chosen them. They rank which one was the hardest to get or who had the highest social status.
And they track who left whom. That's a big one.
A huge one, making sure you weren't the one who was abandoned. And critically, who suffered more. Because suffering can be framed as proof of, superior commitment or strength.
The stories might be true, but they completely distort what loving actually is, which is often quiet and kind of undramatic.
Right. The focus shifts entirely away from the actual experience and onto the personal narrative of victory that you can present to the world.
This is where the source poses a question that sounds, almost stupid at first, but it gets really scary the more you think about it.
I know the one you mean.
If no one knew I had loved someone, would I still find that relationship valuable?
It's a deeply uncomfortable question for a lot of people because it just exposes the whole mechanism.
It reveals that the value you were chasing was maybe entirely external. It was transactional.
It was recognition. It was confirmation of the self, the validation the ego needs. It wasn't about the intrinsic shared value of the attachment itself.
Right. Because if the value of the relationship just vanishes the second the audience goes away.
And then you have to admit you were never really attached to the person. You were attached to the function they performed for your ego.
And that function, that mechanism, is what the source calls the objectification of the partner.
When love gets reframed as a triumph, the person you're with is no longer seen as this independent, free being. They're relegated to being an object.
A tool you use to confirm your own strength or attractiveness.
And the whole perspective shifts. A genuinely loving mindset asks questions like, how are they doing? What do they really need? Are they free to be themselves?
But the conquering mindset asks,
It's all about possession. Have I gotten them? How long have I successfully kept them? What permanent position have I occupied in their life?
the partner is reduced from a whole person to just a badge of honor.
And this is where Camus brings in his core idea. The absurd. I mean, if life has no inherent external meaning, then trying to possess another human being who is also free and temporary is the ultimate absurd impulse.
It's the ultimate human futility.
You can't possess another person. It's just not possible. And to even try is to deny their freedom, which is the very thing that makes them.
Yeah.
To love someone is to accept that they can leave.
Which is why the source asks that other critical test question. If the person I love is completely free to leave, would I still call that love?
That's the panic button for the triumph seeker. If your gut reaction to that idea, their total freedom, is fear or anxiety or even anger,
Then you have to realize you weren't loving the person. You were loving the control, the status that their commitment gave you.
exactly. The source notes that the people who are often loudest about being in love are the ones who are most terrified of losing.
Losing what though? The person.
Not just the person, losing the battle to a rival, losing face with their friends, losing that carefully built image of themselves as someone desirable and chosen.
And that fear of defeat turns the relationship into a performance.
A constant performance. Who's less invested? Who controls the emotional rhythm? Who gets to look like the strong one? The one who doesn't need the other as much.
Camus would see this not as just a simple flaw, but as a deep tragedy. A tragedy of someone who just can't stand their own human fragility.
Because real love is fragile. It offers you no guarantees, no contract, no definitive proof that you are enough.
And since the ego can't handle that lack of certainty, that lack of control,
We try to mask it. We wrap the messy, chaotic reality of love in the rigid, comforting language of achievement and strategy. We hope to control what can't be controlled.
but the more we count our conquests, the further we get from the actual experience of loving.
So the big insight here is that the moment we treat love as a triumph, the relationship stops being a space where two people can meet, and it becomes a place where one ego is just desperately trying to prove its own worth.
Which raises the big question, why? Why is this our default setting? It can't just be simple vanity. It has to come from something deeper.
The source material argues that the foundation of the problem isn't malice, it's anxiety. It's our profound human inability to just sit with the feeling of meaninglessness and personal fragility.
The core dilemma of the absurd that Camus was always writing about.
That's it. We're creatures who crave certainty and meaning, but we're thrown into a universe that offers neither.
And love, in its rawest form, just holds a giant magnifying glass up to that vulnerability.
It absolutely does. Pure love has zero guarantees. No contract says your partner will be there tomorrow, no metric confirms your worth, and that lack of assurance is terrifying.
So it's easier to turn it into a game.
It's easier to turn the uncontrollable experience into a game with rules. A game where victory, even if it's just a temporary story you tell yourself, is at least possible.
Okay, so let's get into the weeds on the specific roots of this. The source identifies a few key drivers, starting with just the culture we live in.
Right. Root 1, the culture of measurement and ranking. We live in a world of constant comparison. Everything, our jobs, what we buy, how we look, our social media, it's all quantified and ranked and put on public display.
And love inevitably gets dragged into that same logic.
It can't escape it. As Camus might say, when people get used to living in constant comparison, they stop asking the deep internal question, how have I lived?
And they start asking the external competitive one, where do I stand?
Where do I stand in the social hierarchy of relationships? The value of the relationship is no longer about the intimate feeling. It's about how it's perceived by others.
It has to serve as proof, social evidence.
Exactly. Proof that I'm attractive enough, successful enough, worthy enough to get this partner. The relationship becomes a badge of validation in a status-obsessed world.
And that need for validation can quickly morph into a fear of just being average.
Root 2, the fear of being ordinary. This is a huge one. This deep anxiety that your life will just be lived, that it won't leave some big, impressive mark.
In ordinary love, the quiet, stable kind, doesn't make for a great story.
No, it's terrible material for a gripping narrative. The stability and predictability that make a relationship healthy are the same things that make it boring to tell people about. And this creates a subconscious craving for a remarkable love.
One that's dramatic enough to prove your life wasn't meaningless.
It has to be a story you can post about, a story that can be consumed. And the source makes us ask a really harsh question about this.
What's that?
If this relationship created no dramatic story worth telling, would I still want to stay in it? If the answer is no, or even if you hesitate,
Then you might be prioritizing the triumph over the actual connection.
right, you're prioritizing the narrative.
The third root is a bit darker. It's about self-repair, almost.
Yeah, root 3, the wounded ego. Love as an existential painkiller. This is when people enter relationships not to meet someone else, but to fix something broken in themselves.
They need the relationship to prove they're lovable, to cancel out past rejections.
To fill those deep internal gaps of inadequacy. And the source's diagnosis here is just so sharp. It calls this using love as an existential painkiller.
It's a powerful metaphor.
Devastatingly accurate. Because painkillers give you relief, but they don't heal the wound. They just create dependency.
And if your whole sense of self-worth comes from your partner choosing you,
Then your entire existence is built on maintaining that choice. You can't let them be free. It becomes clinging, not encountering. And the question that exposes this is simple.
if the other person is no longer here, who am I?
And if the answer to that is just a hollow void, then the relationship isn't a shared journey, it's your life's support system.
Okay, and the last root is that primal fear, the fear of giving up control.
Root 4, the fear of loss of control. Real, authentic love means accepting the highest possible risk. The risk of being vulnerable, being misunderstood, or being left.
It's the absurd right in your living room. It's terrifying.
It is. So people instinctively choose a safer, more tactical version of love. They try to maintain the upper hand. They make sure they never seem too needy. They always have an escape plan.
So the victory of emotional control becomes more important than just being present with the other person.
Exactly. The tactical win is prioritized over the genuine connection. And Camus would say this is a desperate attempt to make love less absurd by making it controllable.
But in making it controllable, you sacrifice the very thing that makes it meaningful.
You sacrifice the spontaneity, the mutual freedom. It seems like the thread connecting all of this is our deep fear of facing ourselves alone.
Yeah, the fear of asking, who am I when no one has chosen me?
And the fear of that question is so great that we turn love into an achievement complex. Not because we want to dominate others, but because we're terrified of our own fragility.
Okay, we've laid out the deep roots. The fear, the cultural pressure. Now let's talk about how this triumph mindset actually works in the day-to-day. The specific behaviors.
The mechanisms. And the source is clear that these aren't always, conscious or malicious. They're more like defense structures.
Built by the ego to protect itself from failure.
Exactly. But they're defenses that end up starving the relationship of oxygen.
Let's start with mechanism 1. The partner as a means. We talked about objectification, but what does that look like on, say, a Tuesday?
It means that the other person is encountered almost entirely as proof. Proof that I'm doing okay, proof of my attractiveness, proof of my successful social life.
Proof that I'm not losing in the relationship market.
Right, so the relationship isn't really a commitment to a person. It's an obsession with achieving and maintaining a certain status. And the really ugly question that reviews this is,
If this person cannot confirm my value, do I still want them?
the discomfort you feel just hearing that question, that's the tell. That's the realization that maybe their primary function in your life is to be a confirming mirror.
And once you see them as a means to an end, it's a short step to trying to quantify everything.
Which is mechanism 2. Quantifying emotion, the ledger mentality. This is a huge one. Relationships get reduced to scorekeeping. Emotional actions are given a value and tracked.
Like who texted first, who apologized, who sacrificed more.
Who loved more deeply, who was vulnerable first. All this counting creates this false but very appealing illusion of fairness and control over something that is fundamentally messy.
You're trying to create a balance sheet for an experience that just, it defies calculation.
Exactly. Camus would see this as rationalizing the absurd. Love is a generous experience, not a balance sheet. And when you start doing this math, you have to face the core contradiction.
Which is?
If I consciously love less in order not to lose, am I still loving?
Wow, yeah. The very act you take to secure the win holding back is the thing that kills the connection.
It's profound self-sabotage, which leads to the next mechanism, which is about managing the fear of being seen.
Mechanism 3, strategizing fragility.
Right, this is where self-protection becomes tactical warfare. Instead of just accepting the fear and being vulnerable anyway, we reframe it with strategic language.
Playing hard to get, not showing my hand, not giving too much away.
All of that. And this is different from healthy boundaries.
How so? Where's the line?
Healthy boundaries are about protecting your own energy and needs no matter what the other person does. Strategizing fragility is all about the outcome.
It's a tactic to manipulate their perception of you.
Right. To create an illusion of control so that if it ends, you can say, well, I didn't give them everything, and protect your ego. It makes you feel safe, but it makes genuine presence impossible.
And this constant need for strategy just prevents the relationship from ever settling down.
Which is mechanism 4, the avoidance of sustained presence. Triumphs are climaxes, they're big, dramatic moments. But real love is defined by the sustained middle.
The commitment to staying present on the boring days. The quiet, un-Instagrammable stability.
And if you're chasing achievement, a relationship that doesn't constantly give you a sense of winning or drama starts to feel boring or even worthless.
So the focus is always on the rush of being chosen, not the harder work of just being together.
It's a flight from the self and a flight from the necessary, mundane reality of existence. If the relationship doesn't constantly make me feel special, I start to doubt its worth. So you're always seeking or even creating new drama to keep that feeling alive.
And the source material warns that this relentless focus on scorekeeping, on strategy, it eventually leads to a very specific kind of burnout.
Existential fatigue. Not just being tired from a busy week, but a deep spiritual exhaustion.
It's the quiet collapse of the strategic self.
Right. The fatigue doesn't come from loving too much. It comes from loving without actually being there. Think about it. The person living this way is never really in the relationship.
They're always outside of it, monitoring
Their status. Am I ahead? Am I about to be abandoned? Do I still have the emotional advantage?
So genuine, peaceful presence is just. It's replaced by surveillance. Your energy is spent on emotional management to avoid defeat.
And that is exhausting.
Yeah.
The relationship stops being a safe harbor and becomes a full-time, high-stress management job. The ultimate self-check here is so simple, but so telling.
When I am next to the person I love, can I genuinely relax?
If the answer is no, if you can't drop your guard, then it's not a refuge, it's a battlefront. And that constant battle leads to burnout.
This armored, strategic way of being must create a huge amount of distance, even if the relationship looks good on the outside.
Consequence 1, emotional disconnection. People in this mindset often say they feel a shallow kind of love or that they can't really touch the core of the other person.
Why is that?
Because deep connection requires you to lose control, to be vulnerable, and that's a risk they feel they can't afford to take. It leads to the state of alienation from their own true feelings.
They become terrified of admitting they need someone.
Yes. And the question to ask yourself if you feel this disconnect is, if I don't allow myself to need anyone, do I still allow myself to love?
If you wall off neediness to look strong, you accidentally wall off the pathways for real intimacy.
The armor that's supposed to protect your ego ends up suffocating your heart.
And this avoidance of real connection means that as soon as the thrill of one victory fades, you're already looking for the next one.
That's consequence 2, perpetual replacement, the absurd loop. When a relationship stops providing that high of triumph, the drama fades, the challenge is gone, people get bored and move on.
Not because the new person is better, but because the new situation restores that feeling of winning again.
It's a way of running from your own internal emptiness, using a rotating cast of partners as a distraction.
Camus would have seen this as just an endless, exhausting loop.
Absolutely, because triumph requires novelty and spectacle. But real attachment requires repetition and quiet, daily presence. Many people just can't stand that repetition without a prize at the end.
Which leads to the most painful consequence of all, being lonely, even when you're not alone.
Consequence 3, loneliness within the relationship. Even when you're sharing a life, if you're stuck in this mindset, you remain profoundly, existentially lonely.
Because you can't let anyone see the fragile parts of yourself.
You can't afford to. So you have two people who are physically close but existentially miles apart. They're not meeting, their armored egos are just silently confronting each other, checking the scoreboard.
And this all culminates in that awful realization after all the effort is spent.
The emptiness after the win. This is maybe the most tragic part. After you achieve the partner, after you win the game, you don't feel happy or fulfilled. You just feel empty.
Because winning the game didn't actually solve the underlying problem that made you need to win in the first place?
Exactly. Winning a conquest doesn't cure your fear of being fragile or meaningless. It just distracts you for a little while. And the final, brutal question you have to ask is,
after I have won, what am I left with?
And the answer, so often, is just a void. A void that can only be filled by finding the next conquest. The whole cycle just leads to exhaustion and a deep confusion about what love even is.
This triumph mindset doesn't just stay in your head, though. It comes out in very specific behaviors, the tools we use to maintain that winning position.
And the source is clear. These aren't just random emotional outbursts. They are, in a sense, calculated maneuvers to protect the ego's investment.
We should look at them philosophically, not just morally.
Exactly. They are the inevitable, often subtle things you do when you have too much riding on the outcome and you can't bear to lose quietly.
Let's start with jealousy. In this framework, it's not what we think it is.
No. Behavior 1. Jealousy as a defense mechanism. Here, jealousy isn't born from a deep, selfless love for the partner. It comes from sheer panic over losing your status.
Your partner is the trophy, the proof of your value.
And the threat of that trophy leaving, or even just looking at someone else, triggers an existential panic. It's not just sadness, it's a catastrophic threat to your sense of self.
So the fear is less about losing the connection and more about losing your identity as the chosen one.
Right. So the question you have to ask yourself when you feel that spike of jealousy is, am I jealous because I fear losing this person's unique presence, or because I fear losing my image as the winner? For many, it's the fragility of a threatened ego, not the abundance of love.
The second tool is used to neutralize the biggest threat of all, the partner's freedom.
Behavior 2. Sophisticated control. And this is rarely, overt or aggressive. It's insidious. It's subtly managing their time, their friends, their emotional reactions.
And it's often disguised as just being caring or responsible.
Brilliantly disguised. I'm just looking out for you. But the core philosophical challenge is potent.
If you love freedom, why can't you tolerate the other person's freedom?
That's the Camusian challenge. The moment control becomes more important than trust, love transforms into a relationship based on the fear of being deprived of your possession.
To do this, you have to constantly live outside the present moment.
Which is behavior 3, constant comparison. The current partner is always being measured against some invisible yardstick. An idealized ex, a rival, an imaginary better option out there.
You're not really in the relationship. You're living inside this invisible ranking system in your head.
You're using the current relationship as a battleground to settle old scores or win phantom victories.
So you have to ask yourself,
am I loving this person for who they are right now? Or am I unconsciously using them to win against someone else in my head?
an ex, a parent, a rival?
It proves the relationship is just a tool in a larger psychological game that you're constantly replaying.
And when the relationship ends, the final tool comes out to make sure you win the breakup itself.
Behavior 4. Breakups as strategy. Ending the relationship isn't a conclusion, it is a final tactic to avoid defeat. The one who leaves first wins.
The one who suffers less, or seems to, is seen as stronger.
And the one who admits they're in pain or wants to go back is labeled weak or defeated.
It's the tragedy of it all. People would rather cut ties and preserve the illusion of strength than admit a painful human need for the person who's leaving.
And the source concludes that the cruelest part is the hollowness that comes after that final strategic win. There's no relief, only a void.
Why?
Because the loss isn't just the person, it's the loss of the reason to keep playing the exhausting game. Emotion was only ever a tool to avoid losing, and in the end, everyone is just exhausted, and the winner is left with nothing but a good story and a deep existential fatigue.
We have to zoom out here, because the source is adamant that this isn't just an individual failing. This whole achievement mindset in love it's trained into us.
Camus would absolutely insist on this. People aren't loving incorrectly in a vacuum. They are conforming to the prevailing logic of the age we live in.
A logic that values what?
Things that are visible, measurable, and can be turned into a narrative. Success, influence, achievements you can post a picture of.
And love gets dragged onto that public stage.
It has to. Camus said that modern people don't just live, they present their lives. Love becomes a mandatory part of your personal brand.
The quality of your partner, the drama of the story, it's all part of the brand.
It all requires an audience, which brings us back to that question. If society couldn't see this relationship, would I still want to live it?
And social media is just a giant engine for amplifying this exact problem.
It accelerates it exponentially. Quiet, stable, long-term attachment is boring content. Social platforms reward the exhibition of triumph, the relationship goals, photos, the dramatic proposals, the post-breakup glow-up.
So people start looking for relationships that will generate good content.
Unconsciously, yes. We align our search for love with what the system rewards. The quiet, non-strategic presence of real attachment starts to feel meaningless.
And this feeds a constant low-level anxiety that everyone else is winning at life.
The fear of being left behind. We see these curated stories of everyone else living happier, more successful lives, so getting a partner becomes a desperate move to avoid feeling less than.
The whole evaluation shifts. It's not, does this relationship help me live more genuinely?
No, it becomes the external question. Does this make me look okay? Does it make me look like I'm keeping up?
And the toxic achievement culture we have in our careers gets applied directly to our emotions.
We're taught that success is a result of effort. So success in love or conquest must be proof that you're a worthy person. But the cruelty in that logic is what Camus points out.
If love is an achievement, then failure, a breakup,
is a personal deficiency. It's shame. This structure makes the normal human experience of being alone toxic. It forbids peaceful solitude.
because being single is redefined as being a loser.
Exactly. Society doesn't give you permission to just be alone. There's immense pressure to get into any relationship just to escape that feeling of exclusion.
And relationships started from that place of fear are almost guaranteed to be lived as a conquest.
Because the goal was never connection. It was self-validation against a perceived social threat.
So the whole system rewards the drama of the conquest, the story.
That's the hard truth. But Camus' request is simple. It's for awareness. To just recognize the difference between what society rewards and what actually allows you to live an authentic life. Society rewards the conqueror. Authentic existence requires the humility to just exist without needing a trophy.
So if this whole triumph mindset leads to exhaustion, control, and loneliness, what's the alternative? Camus doesn't give us like a 10-step plan.
No, it's not advice. It's a fundamental reorientation. A new way to exist in love without the need to win.
And the core shift is replacing one question with another.
Right. You have to stop asking, what do I get from this? What does it prove about me? And start asking the harder, more existential question.
How am I existing when I am in this relationship? What is the actual state of my being?
It's a question that demands total honesty, not comparison. It forces you to look at your true emotional state.
And the source says the true promised land of love isn't about being chosen.
It's about having the courage to stay present when there is nothing to prove, no one is watching, and there's no dramatic story to tell. It's a quiet act of rebellion.
A rebellion against our achievement-obsessed culture.
And this rebellion requires you to accept the most difficult truth of all.
Which is that the person you love does not exist to confirm your value.
They are a free, sovereign existence, an entity who can arrive or depart without your permission or control. And Camus wouldn't say this makes you happier, necessarily, just that it makes you live more truly, less exhaustingly.
This brings us all the way back to freedom, shared freedom.
It's the only metric that matters. The foundational question becomes, if this person is completely free to leave tomorrow, do I still want to be with them today?
And if the honest answer is yes,
Then that's an encounter, a genuine meeting of two free wills who choose each other moment to moment. It's not a conquest that has to be secured.
that requires immense courage, a willingness to take off the armor.
It requires the courage to not turn every emotion into a tactic, the courage to give up the upper hand. A truly free person isn't the one who controls everything. It's the one who can live without needing to.
In love, that means daring to need without shame, daring to be weak without feeling defeated.
In daring to just be alone without feeling inferior.
It means you have to face your own fragility head-on, to accept the absurdity of it all.
Yes, when you choose love without victory, you're just accepting the messy, beautiful reality of your own vulnerability in your partner's. There's no scoreboard, no medal, no story to publish.
Just two people choosing to exist beside one another.
Trying to create some momentary shared meaning in a universe that guarantees nothing.
And that is where we'll leave you today, with Camus's ultimate whisper, a final provocative thought to take with you.
If there is no one left to conquer, no one left to prove anything to, no one left to tell the triumphant story to do, I still want to love.
The ultimate conclusion is that when we stop demanding that love be a triumph, the relationship stops being a strategic place where the ego seeks to win.
And it becomes a simple, open space where two people